Hello everybody, today I'm bringing you another Halloween layout. This one is of my older grandson in his Halloween costume trick-or-treating, and he decided to be a fireman, which if you look at it, the fireman costume has abs. It's kind of crazy. I do have a picture of him to Scrapbook that my daughter-in-law posted that said hashtag abs like dad, so I will have to do that one yet. But anyway, I decided that I am going to do two groups of these photos would be the best way to describe what I'm going to end up doing. I didn't want to do them in a line, and I wanted to take the photos and place them at little angles, because if I placed them all in a row, the line for where the sidewalks were was not the same horizontally, and it just looked kind of funny. So by placing them on angles, you don't see the difference as much with those sidewalks. And right now I cut them a little bit large compared to what I think I'm going to, just because I'm not sure exactly what kind of embellishments and things like that I'm going to put on them. So that red paper that I've been working with is Doodlebug Petite Prints. It's the Ladybug Gingham linen paper. And then I have the black and white stripe paper as a background there. That's Bella Boulevard Color Chaos Words of Wisdom. And there's a lot of 3x4 cards on the background there that you can see that have words on them. So I decided I'm going to place those, the two photos at the top there. And they're all very, very similar. I think all the photos are going in one direction except for that photo that's on the right now, on the bottom right. He's facing the other direction there. So I know that I want that photo to the right so that the other photos are facing into the layout, and that one will be facing into the layout as well. For instance, if I had put it to the top left there, it would have been facing out of the layout. Those are kinds of things for you to look at when you're working with your photos. It just helps your eye make more sense of a layout, and it helps lead your eye through the layout even better. So just so that you kind of know some of the little tricks for design tricks there. So that's one of the things I pay attention to. And I don't remember to tell you that all the time, just because for me it's kind of an inherent thing. I have an interior design background. I think I've talked about that a little bit here and there. So some of those design principles are kind of normal for me because I had a lot of art in school, and design principles as well. And some of them are just plain inherent. So I'm cutting down that Doodlebug paper on the top photo just a little bit more, and I have pulled a couple of things. I've pulled some wood veneers, I've pulled some die cuts, and I've also pulled some rosettes to work with on this layout. Not quite sure how. So it's taking me a little bit longer to use my trimmer, by the way, because at this point I've just gotten a brand new Caterpillar Pro trimmer, and figuring that out is a little bit, it can be a little bit tough. And what I'm doing there is I had somehow ripped out that corner of the paper just a little bit, so I was taking a black pen and using just kind of marking out the white on it so that you can't see it quite as apparently as you would have otherwise. And it looks fine now. So I do like my Caterpillar Pro trimmer, and I have the big one. The one thing that I discovered is you can't gut paper with it because of the way the blade goes. You can't pick the blade up at all. So that is the only thing so far that I've found that I don't like about the trimmer. And I'm not quite sure what I do. Right now I still have my old trimmer not too far away, so I can use that to gut paper as I need to, and I gut paper all the time. The other thing I could do is I have a metal ruler and a craft knife not too far away, so that's the other thing I can do to make that a little bit easier for me. But you've seen me gut paper a lot. So back to this layout, what I've done is I've placed 4 wood veneers actually from Ellie's Studio. They are from a pack of Halloween wood veneers. The top one says, the banner says I love candy there that I'm working with. There's a little banner that says October. There's a little circle that says 31, and then some, oh, I forgot, actually I have 5. Then there's a some candy corn, and then the little banner at the bottom that says Happy Halloween. And then I went to my die cuts. I'm just auditioning a few there. I have a red house there up by the I Love Candy banner, and that just, you know, a little, because they're trick-or-treating, that made sense. And then I did audition a tab there on the top of the bottom group of photos, and I didn't like it. So I took that back off. And then I have these rosettes from the Girls Paperie Toil and Trouble collection. They're the Flower Market crepe paper rosettes. And I'm going to add one on the bottom there, and that one says Trick or Treat. It does have a little bit of orange in it, but I'm okay with that. The fireman costume reads a little bit red-orange, and Halloween's an orange color, right? Or orange is a Halloween color, I should say. Okay, so I'm taking my time. Because this was a fairly quick layout, including the choice of papers, it only took me 22 minutes to do this layout. So this is actually at almost normal speed. I have it fast forwarded just a little bit. It's at 1.25 speed. So that's pretty quick for me. Most of my layouts take about double that time. A lot of mine are about 40 minutes. That's about what I'm finding that I'm averaging. All right, and what I was doing there is I just cut a little bit of foam tape off so that I could put the second candy corn a little bit higher than the first, just to pop that up just a little bit. And I like how that photo is and the cluster that I have going on there, so I'm going to glue that down. I'm going to end up, I thought about putting a title on this, but then I didn't want to kind of ruin the symmetry of the way the two photographs are by putting it. It would have probably made most sense to the left of the bottom photo. So I'm going to end up just using Happy Halloween, which is on the big wood label down there, as my title. I added the little 31 die cut, and now I'm just going to add that October die cut. When I first started working with these wood veneers, I didn't care for them because they changed them and they're much thinner. And the reason they did that is so that they can go in pocket pages a lot easier so that they don't fall out. And they're pretty thin. You have to be a little bit careful. But now that I've worked with them a little bit more, I really like them. They don't add a lot of bulk to your page, but yet you still can use a wood veneer. Now I'm kind of looking here to see if there's any other stickers or anything to go next to that 31. Kind of playing with it. There were a couple of arrows that I liked, but the one that I liked the best was going in the wrong direction. So that's not going to work. And I thought about that little love tag there, but it was too long and narrow for the 31. So I'm still thinking, what am I going to use? Because I want something down there. It just looks lonely to me. And I realized as I was gluing those photos down that I hadn't glued down the top cluster there. So I'm going to come back and do that. I do have a couple more pieces to add here. My clusters aren't quite done. For one thing, a couple of them just have 2 pieces in them, and that's just not enough. I often like to do clusters of 3. I will sometimes do clusters of 2, but I really like 3 better. It's just a personal preference. Okay, so still looking and still trying to figure out what to do here. And I go back and I look at my Toil and Trouble rosettes again, and I find one that says Happy Halloween. And I actually like that next to the 31. I like the 2 round shapes together there. So still, I'm looking at it still and tapping my fingers because I'm not quite sure what I want to do, but it doesn't feel complete yet to me. So I went and I found these Recollections black enamel dots. Those came out of their dollar spot. They're black, white, and silver. And I like them, but they're really big. So I find them hard to use. I don't know that I'd used any off of this sheet at this point, and I've had them for a little while. So I go back and I grab one of the smaller ones and put it up in that cluster there. And I put that black one there. It won't stay there though, because I'm going to add another element to that cluster still. And then I'm just going to take this one, and I'm using one of the bigger ones, but I'm tucking it behind the rosette there so that even though it's large, it doesn't look as large because it's tucked behind something else. Added another one of the smaller ones up to the October there. I didn't put anything on the candy corn. The enamel dots were just a little bit too big, but every other cluster has an enamel dot. And what's happening now is I'm looking at the cluster with the Happy Halloween label in it, the wood veneer label, and it's looking too straight. Like the line of the label and the line of the rosette are just too straight across. So I'm going to go back to my Bella Boulevard Oh My Stars paper pieces. That's where these die cuts came from, that die cut and the house die cut did. And I'm just going to pop, they had a semicircle in there, and that I like. It just adds another little dimension. It makes it not quite so straight across. And I like the way that looks. So that's where that's going to go. As I'm, worrying about minuscule things. It's interesting because you're used to seeing me work. It looks like I'm working so much faster, but like I said, this is basically my real scrapping speed here. And now I'm going to change where that enamel dot is. I'm going to tuck that into the cluster here with the rosette and that little half circle there. And now my layout is done. All right, and I'm not going to, I journal just a tiny bit on here. Actually, I forgot about this, that I played with the enamel dots a little bit more. I journaled just on the bottom to the left of that Happy Halloween. It was the only place that really had a spot for journaling, and I didn't, like I said, I didn't want to put another tag or anything in there to upset the balance of this layout. So you'll see me grab my Pitt pen. And there's not a lot of journaling, he's wearing his Halloween costume and he's trick-or-treating. So there's no big story behind this. Although it was the first year that he he was 3 when these photos were taken. So he really got into it. All right, so coming up is a detail shot and a couple, still shot and a couple of detail shots. Hope you are all well, and I'll be back with another layout soon. Bye.